So here's a clip. We were in Sedona at a Soulogy Soul Gathering, and Romeo Barron and Shakina Rose did some freestyle light language. And a lady, beautiful sister, came up from the audience, and well, I'll just let you see what she did. Her name's Laura Cruse, and she's going to be on with us in just a couple of 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. So enjoy this impromptu Soulogy Soul Gathering moment.
Codes are being released in the language of light, all the different lineages. It's the tone, it's the sound, it's the vibration that awakens this divine original blueprint. Sacred lineages, our cosmic family, our soul family, Ikita, soul in the earth, and the crystals within the earth, and the crystals within our own being. This all awakens in these tonal, vibrational language of the soul. We remember it in a different way, the place from which we come from, the light of source, for the many places, dimensions, planets, light. We have all been called to remember and awaken the light within humanity and the restoration of the divine original blueprint and the merging divine connections of the soul source of dimensions, timeless, time-space of the heart, soul, light of Creator within all.
Aranto agareja merutu, irwanandele tu, diraganandele ketu, yagarandele dejana, yarandele kesutu, yarantu agaya anijande, yarandele ketu, yaisha danandu ayan, yarantu agarandele tesutu, yadanan. These are the harmonic sound foundation tones of the Blu-ray consciousness. Yarandu guru yagarara nihikeya. Ilandanan melekere keyana. Ilandan melekere de suturya ahikeya. Yan ehekyanandu ayanan melekeya nandeke. Ilandu guru kuturya anisyatanan meleke. Nilandu ayanan melekeyana. Yaryetu hakayanan deketu. Nilandan melekeya. Ilandu yaran meleke. Irandu yadaran, irandandele kereshu tuya irana, iranandele kereshu tuya irana.
What got the issue? What did you want to get? What did you want to watch? And you put what they and you what they are going to watch to put him on the put air, what you spend. And if you don't put your cash to put him on the cash to do it, and if you don't get more, I get to what to put money to pay, you know, to put us to put the coach to it. And if you don't watch to put him in the good to shoot if you got to pay, you know, should be the show to destroy it to put you to be. And you should put him on the patch to put you to be. And you get up the cash to put him on the put you to get back to the game. And you get to the edge to get to know what you do. And you put better to put the cash to be. No akari shiwa and ikahina mediki no ina maka shi no ka aniki ina make aniki ina wa no ka ina ka shi na mate aniko ina ma no ka io ka shi fu shi.
That was pretty cool, right? That was Laura Cruse, who came up from the audience impromptu, spontaneously, powerfully. We're going to have her on right now. I'm going to pull her up. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for coming back in. Sorry about the false alarm with Broder Bilal, but he'll be coming on right after this show. Let's see. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Wait. Wait.
Okay, can you hear me?
Oh, there you go. Yes, I can hear you. Hello.
Yay.
What's going on, beloved sister? What's happening? I was just reliving that moment. I was reliving that moment a couple of weekends ago. That was beautiful. So not everybody knows you, so I'm going to read this little bio that on the text of the post announcement, Laura's website here. I've also got it pulled up here. We're going to take a look at that. She's a star seed, and she's come from as a galactic volunteer in this lifetime to aid in the rising of vibration and consciousness of mankind and Mother Earth. She's an activator of light frequencies and codes in all beings, but especially in other star seeds that have come to Earth at this time. She anchors light, channels, holds the space, and shines her light, allowing others to see the light in themselves. She works with many high frequency beings. We'll talk about that in her galactic family, channeling light language and different healing energy frequencies that are used in the multiple modalities of healing work that she offers. She says you're your own creator, and all healing can only come from you. Being ready to release any limitations, conditioning, traumas, and beliefs that keeps you in the cycles of suffering and diseasement and away from your higher divine self. So without further ado, welcome to the show. Thank you for sharing space with us, Laura Cruse, and honoring us. Yeah, honoring us with your presence. Yeah, it's good to see you. It's good to see you again. It's the third time. Third time's a charm.
Always.
Yeah, we could get into a lot of stuff. Yeah, we could get into a lot of stuff. But just reading that bio. So, I mean, I met you. I was over covering a little event over at the Sedona Community Center, and I kept seeing you after or as I was filming, and then as I got out, I kept looking at you, or we were looking at each other, and like, something's going on. I know that
Yeah,
person, or
that happened the
something's up,
first
or she's
time
got something to
too.
say, or something.
That happened the first
Yeah,
time,
that's
if
what I
you
was talking about. The
noticed.
very first
Oh,
time.
okay.
And then you approached me and said, "Can I?" Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then you approached me and were like, I came because of Morgan. I know her. I need to talk to her," which happened then the next weekend when we did our little event. And you guys had like a soul recognition moment, which I've only seen Morgan actually do with like 3 or 4 different ladies, people, and yeah, it's pretty powerful. So um, yeah, and so she told me that she, obviously recognized you from another dimension or previous incarnation, however you want to put that.
Yeah.
Do you have any memory of? I'm just, for a sake of, as an example, for a sake of just trying to bring up codes in other people. Do you have any recognition of her, or even of your, or what was it that moved you to speak to her and show yourself to her, however that goes?
I guess you could say um, it was when
Uh-oh.
I just saw you guys talking on your other videos you've done. And I have this thing, I call it kind of like my integrity truth star, and it kind of just goes, it's this beam, it goes straight down the center of me, and it just kind of sees truth, knows truth, and just so I see a lot of people, and I think it's the healer in me that while I see all parts of them, I do kind of get drawn to what's here, maybe what needs to be balanced part, and that's kind of the healer side of me. um so when I saw Morgan, I don't know, I, I could just tell right away. I saw it in her eyes. Like I could see it in her eyes. Just she's beaming this power and this presence that not everybody has. It's kind of those like those monk sages people that are just the quiet ones in the back, and they just sit there and they don't say anything, but they are emanating this power and strength that's just like boom, because they don't really have to say anything. So I really connect and resonate with those type of people. So that's what drew me to her right away, seeing that, and I thought there's something there. And then just I heard you guys were coming, and I thought, oh, maybe it's an option to meet her. I didn't exactly know what at first. I just kind of knew there was a connection. I knew there was something there. Um, I think once we actually met, then um, like I get bits and pieces of information. So before I decided to go back the second time, I'm kind of like, oh, should I go or not? And I was checking in, and I did kind of get that we were some sort of powerful priestesses, but that the main connection was like a very deep sisterly, deep love kind of connection that we had. And I got that if I went, there would be something transmitted that she could get, but it all depended if she was open to get it. So it's like, yeah, you can go, and if you go, something can go through, but that's up to kind of like her. So, and then when we did meet, it was amazing because she is completely just open and present, and that's what touched me and got me the most, because I'm like that with everybody, but I don't think I've ever, besides my teacher, I don't think I've ever met anybody who saw me right away. And all it took was a few minutes of like kind of looking deep into each other. Then she saw me, and the minute she saw me, all this stuff started. So it's kind of like when you're that open and clear, and you can just look at somebody. And so when we looked at each other, I saw and knew all of this. I kept hearing stuff like, it's so nice to see you again, or things like that. But then I also watched us like being taken in, like I went into her eyes, and then we both like did a whole through like just many times in lives, just picking up information and remembrance, I guess you could say. It's like, you know, when you time warp and you just get sucked into a thing.
Yeah.
That's what I felt.
Yeah, well, that's a great description. I've seen it happen with her, and like I said, 3 or 4 other people. I don't know that I've ever experienced what I viewed with y'all or these other people and her, but maybe I experienced it in a different way, or it feels a different way. But it sounds to me like it's a very deep soul merging, uh, along with the remembrance, but some type of merging, exchange of information, whether one was given transmitting to the other or both, which I would have to think everything we do it goes both ways. Um, but I think your backgrounds are probably similar, not knowing everything about you, but just like looking at your bio. So I'd start with like, you know, you mentioned in there that you can, or that you utilize or connected to certain frequencies or consciousnesses, and that you utilize that in your own life and in your work, in your practice, as an energy practitioner. Are there certain then essences or galactics or beings or consciousnesses that you resonate with or align with the most? These are the ones that you use, and what are they?
Yeah, I kind of just call them my star family. And anytime I connect up with them, which is usually on a daily basis, I mean, I'm always connected to them and I feel them around me, but there are those times where you just do it consciously, so you just kind of like say it, and I always just connect up with my highest frequency star family. Kind of everything I do is like the highest frequency of whatever that is, because I think we all know there's different, even in different groups, there's different levels of frequencies in that group. So I just call them my star family. It's a group, like a council type of group. They're from all different dimensions. So anywhere from the 7th, 10th, and higher, I imagine. Back in the day when I was really attached with like everybody else saying names of who their guides are and all this stuff, and I was asking that sort of thing, but I never really got. I always get the same answer: is you know us, and you know that you don't really care about names. And I have to laugh because that's totally true. Like, I don't care about names. If you say anybody's name, it goes like right in and out. I'm all about frequency, and I'm all about just feeling the energy of the person or the being or whoever. So
Yeah.
I just kind of laugh because that's totally true. I really don't care about that sort of thing. So
And I think that happens. I mean, it's an important subject because our statement, because so many people, well, as it seems, I mean, I don't even know if this is an accurate statement, but it seems like more and more people are at least coming out openly, coming out. Let's put it that way. And a lot of these journeys seem to be very similar in the characteristics. One of those characteristics is that certain essences or consciousnesses or groups or whatever brought them in the door, basically, or indoctrinated them or initiated them. But as time goes on, they lose the attachment and they lose the label, and they start to look at it as a collective, one single voice that just has many, many different frequencies. And depending on where you're at, which one's going to step up or which ones are going to step up and communicate with you or direct you or guide you. Yeah, so I think that's important. And I do see less and less of the attachment to the skill or the ability or the past life or the star family connection or whatever. Like you said, you don't really need a name. You just go to work, and that's your natural flow, I think, isn't it?
yeah, I mean, I kind of think it depends. Everybody's different and where their frequency is at, because I do think there are people that are very connected with a certain star group or family because maybe they have they're identified with that more. They have literally kind of been with that energy more. For me, I've realized that, and that's been a big journey of mine, is the not fitting in, and being okay with not fitting in. And for me, that even encompasses like the spiritual community and the awakened community of, I don't really feel like I fit in there either. But earlier it was just like fitting in general. But so me wanting to know names and stuff, I think was just me, oh, I hear everybody else say that they know the name, so then I should know the name, because then that means that I'm more, just kind of trying to fit in that way because everybody else is doing it, so that must be the way to do it. So that's been a big part of my journey, is kind of really trusting myself, really accepting and honoring who I really am and the frequency that I'm really at, because I don't think I've ever ultimately ever been like that, because where I'm at, I have literally already worked with like all of them all before. So I don't have a specific direct connection to anyone, because I've done a lot already with a lot of things. And so I just don't have that specific thing. I mean, I meet people like Morgan or somebody where I remember, and it touches my heart to like see them and feel them again. And like I get touched in my heart. But overall, when I'm working, I think I'm just pulling from everything I've ever done and known. And that's quite a lot. So
Yeah.
that's just how it works.
And I think over the last few years, certainly the last 2 or 3 years, and from some people it's been longer than that. I'm not saying that, but I think on a wider scale, or at least what's being put out there, and I'm not talking mainstream or even alt news. I'm talking about like programs like this, is the star family part of it. So like if you look at the whole thing in this incarnation, I mean, in terms of what communications you're receiving, or however you want to put it, how much of that is made up, or how much of that is taken up by star family communications, specific galactic communications, where it's galactic, and does that stand out, or does it stand on equal ground with the other types of consciousnesses and essences that you communicate with?
For me, I would say it's almost all galactic. Um, I'm assuming by other consciousness you're meaning like other
The
elementals or
angelic,
other types of
angelic,
beings
yeah,
or angelic
elementals.
beings.
Yeah.
I consider angelic part of the galactic thing too. Yeah, for me it's almost all galactic. I know I've been all of those other energies too. I guess where I'm at now in my understanding of it is that um, for me, I feel like the galactic kind of encompasses everything, even the other ones. But I just feel like it's a different type of frequency that's more in proximity to a source, you would say. Does
Yeah.
that make
Or
sense?
maybe, yeah. No, I get that. And I wonder sometimes if, like, at a cosmic level or memory level or incarnation level, they have those consciousnesses that are galactic star family are closer in proximity. I know there's not a linear timeline and all that. I don't even look at galactic. A lot of people talk about, oh, we came from the future to help ourselves. I actually think the galactic's behind us, but it's probably both, But no, so I do get what you're saying. And then one of the reasons that it resonates with me too is because, not, and this isn't across the board, but I mean, it seems like uh, that with the greater influx or the greater openness about with these galactic communications, directions, and guidance, uh, it seems to be, at least from a human perspective, a little bit more mission orientated. It seems to be like, okay, that the intel that comes in from that level or that dimension or whatever you want to call it seems to be constructive. It seems to have something to do with what we're doing here in this incarnation collectively, like, call it ascension, call it transformation, reprogramming, whatever the case is. But it seems to be really close to us. Do you look at these aspects, whether they be the galactic star family or any others, the ones that communicate with you, for lack of a better way to put it, do you feel there are other aspects of you? And I know everything goes back to the one, but I mean, do you feel like they're part of your composition, part of your internal multi-dimensionality?
Yeah, I think that's a difference of where I'm at now versus a few years ago, even, is that I feel very much embodied by my I've done a lot of, fractal pieces coming back, your different essences. I feel like there's been a lot of merger of the different aspects of who I am, and in a way that it's very embodied in me now. And I would say that actually happened a lot when I activated my 12 light bodies. I found that like everything for me, and I think what this does, not only for me, but for other like kind of more galactic starseed people that are already kind of tapped into these realms and spaces, is that it brings everything that's here. So you're able to actually embody all these things that you're seeing or visions or downloads or you're like embodying them in a completely different way. And that's kind of where I'm at right now with that. I feel like you said something about the missions, and I was thinking,
Yeah, just
I think people
yeah, I
that
don't know
get
if the
downloaded
missions. Well, I don't know.
well, I think there's certain people that all have different roles, and there's certain people that come with a lot of like instructions for, let's say, creating technologies or things like that, and that can maybe feel more mission like in a sense, because you're using more of your brain to process that information and create it and stuff. I think maybe in the beginning I felt that mission thing, but I think the more that you evolve and the more that you embody yourself, the more you integrate yourself. And I think I've always felt that it's not, I know I'm here doing big stuff. I know that. I know I'm here helping Ascension. But I also know that I'm here to like be human and to experience what this whole like literally experience it myself, and still take what I can with it and from it, because for me, feeling very connected to the stars and the galaxies and beyond, it has been a challenge, especially early on, even wanting to be here and do things here. And so in that aspect, that even is a really wonderful teaching for me of experience what this is, even being human and all of the things we go through and everything. So for me, it's like my awakening, it was very much, Laura, you're gonna, even though you're like so beyond everything, you're literally gonna start from scratch and pretend you know nothing and start from like the bottom up. So I could really understand what it was like to be human in a very human way. So I think the more you grow and evolve, and like I said, do clear your stuff out and get clear, you just understand that it's more about the experience than a mission. It's more about experiencing the
Yeah, of
experience of
course.
what we're
Yeah.
evolving through and what's actually happening, and being a part of it in that way.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. I think missions certainly not the right word. A purpose. Some people, well, everybody seems to have these, missions within the mission, but there seems to be like prominent things that individuals are essences or consciousnesses that they're expanding within themselves, that they're expressing. I mean, whether it be, say, Divine Conscious Union, or, like you said, like free energy technology or other technology, or whatever it is. Like they came to do something or some things that are maybe more specific to them, but doesn't mean they're any less in them than they are in me, or that type of thing. For sure. I get what you're saying. Yeah. And so let me ask you now, this thing that we had in Sedona, this Soulogy Soul Gathering, when you came up and boldly got up there and did what you should have did, and put that light language out there. How long you been doing light language? What was it like the first time it came in? Did it scare you? And do you understand what they're telling you, or do you understand what you're saying when it comes in?
Well, when I did there, I literally could not do it. It was when it gets that strong, when I know I have to do it, my heart starts pounding really fast, and all this energy starts building. And well, the lady I was talking to after at the chocolate tree was sitting next to me. She said that she saw this light literally pulling me up out of my chair, coming up there. But so that's how it works when it's like that. But I started doing it.
How long has it been?
Yeah, I've been doing it maybe about 3 years or so. It kind of really started when my light bodies started. I started the process of activating my light bodies, and I was actually. It's super interesting. I've been done more of that in the last week. I've started 4 different people and activating their light bodies than I ever have before. So this is really coming now, where people, it's time for this sort of thing, and it wasn't really ever time before. So that's really exciting. But yeah, I think like the 6th light body or something like that is kind of a lot of DNA codes are activated. I just read in my book the other day, she literally says light language, the codes of light language are there. So it kind of started for me with that. And then when I first started it was really for me. I think everything I've ever done has always been for me, because I came from a kind of a traumatic, I had some traumatic things happen when I was younger. So I've been on like a healing journey. So everything I've ever done has always been to try to get myself okay and balance and want to be here. I was very suicidal most of my life. So when it first started, when it would come through, it would be in times when I was doing big, huge releases or things coming up, and it would just flood out of me. But I was already in a state, luckily then, of like being okay with just like shaking or, letting things move out. So it didn't really scare me. And actually, it was very comforting. I knew what it was doing. I knew that it was helping. I could feel it help to move things out. I could feel it comforting me. In the beginning, a lot of it came, and it still comes, where it's my family, my star family, talking to me, giving me, whether it's instructions or just like hugs or just telling me, good job, keep it up, that sort of thing. So that's how it kind of first started with me. So for me, it was very comforting. I knew it was healing stuff and helping to release stuff. I think I did it for the first time in front of people. I went to a Starseed quest. I think that was the first time I did it in front of a group of people, and it was already playing in my head, and it was like Sedona, only 10 times worse. My whole body was so hot. I was shaking. I pulled her aside because I didn't want her up. I'm like, this has to come out. Like I literally can't hold it in. And then she let me speak, but that was kind of the first time I did it, and I was shaking, and it was a big transmission, but that was kind of the first time I did it in front of anybody.
What'd you think about it the first time? What'd you think about the first time you started to actually say it when you were by yourself? Did you know what the hell was going on? Did it seem familiar to you?
I wouldn't say I just knew that's how it was supposed to be. Like it wasn't anything weird. Sometimes it's hard for me to remember back then, because I'm also very now person, so I can barely remember yesterday. So timelines are always jumping, and I'm always in so many places that it's hard for me to remember. But when I do, I don't recall like thinking it was weird. I might have been like, oh, huh. But it's like I could feel it. I just felt it and I knew what it was doing. So I didn't really question it. And it just felt like, yeah, this makes sense that I would start doing this because, yeah. Laura, start accepting yourself.
Let me ask you this, right? Yeah, I always wonder with people like you, like if you had to pick one moment, what was the most, the most substantial experience you ever had, whether it be dimensional, human, light language or whatever? Was there one that stands out, or ones that stand out as just being the most impactful?
Uh, wow, I'd have to like trail far back. Um, no, I feel like I've had so many that, especially in the moment, which is, I mean, I love this about this when you're really in alignment with it, that you're kind of amazed every time. You know, like even with the synchronicities of life, how you're going through something. I remember going through a big healing of a big trauma, and I kept getting put through this weird job scenario of these crazy jobs. I didn't have a job, and I'm like, why am I getting hired by this company that is horrible? I don't even want to walk in the door. All this stuff happening, and then later the day, I'm so frustrated by all that this huge release happens around all this trauma around saying no. And this had to do with saying no to the job too.
Wow.
So just like those little pieces, like when you're really conscious enough to like daily see all the little things that hook together. Like in that sense, I'm always kind of just like really humbled and really amazed and really just like, it's cool. And at the same time, of course, like nothing surprises me. So it's kind of hard to say, like, even my stories don't surprise me, the stuff that's happened to me and what I've been through as far as galactic and ships and whatever. But people tell me their stuff and I'm not surprised. I'm not really shocked by anything because it's kind of like I already know it. It's like anytime somebody tells me something, it's like I already know it. So it's kind of strange because it's kind of strange in that way. I'm just like, oh yeah, yeah. Like, so
It doesn't surprise you.
right. Nothing has ever really surprised me. But when I'm in the moment of like experiencing it, like really being in the body and really experiencing it, and I guess I could say that mostly happens through my experiences, unless I'm working with someone and I really get to be involved in their experience of it. Then my heart is involved, and I can feel it, and I can feel the awe, I can feel the gratitude, because I can feel all of I just see how far it goes out. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
So would you say that the most profound experiences you have, yeah, it makes sense. I just want to revisit it for a second, but would you say that the most powerful experiences you've had always involve the human aspect and its expansion? It's revelation or
I think for me, because
growth?
everything else that wows everybody else, that's my natural state. So it's not a thing. So this stuff here, or how we incorporate that in here, and the heart and the emotion and the power of emotion and of compassion and just all those things that wows me, that makes me cry tears of joy and sadness and everything else. And I find that magical for me, I think, a lot, because I am bringing all of that in too. So I'm not only experiencing like the human aspect of whatever it is, but I also have all of this other stuff that is brought in with it. So it makes it even more. So I think a little bit.
Right on. So let me ask you this, in terms of the collective experience, given your life experience and the whole evolution that you had, so like on the subject of what we're all experiencing together, are you able to see what's happening on the Earth grid? Are you able to see what's going on etherically beyond the physical?
Um, yes, I don't know what you mean. You have to be more specific. Like, what do you
Well,
mean
like,
by the Earth
are you
grid
able
or?
to see? Like, I know Morgan. Well, like the etheric or energetic grid of our energy. Say of our light bodies, or I don't really know exactly how to put it, but I call it like the human hybrid soul grid. People talk about the Christ consciousness grid, or they'll talk about this grid or that grid. Are you able to see, different people have different talents or whatever. Are you able to see what's going on here, whether it be through your own eyes, through your third eye? uh, what do you think is happening, especially this year, and especially the last few months? There seems to be a real
Oh,
shift or a real elevation or a new paradigm appearing.
yeah. I mean, I see it in the sense of I know it. Like, I just,
Yeah,
I hear everybody say the talks. I'm like, yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah, yeah,
It's kind
yeah.
of, it's already there. It's already known to me. When I work with people, I do, because I connect and activate people's matrix grid system and their light bodies, which your matrix has to be activated and connected before your light bodies can actually connect.
So
Um,
your matrix, say that again. So your matrix has to
your
be
matrix,
connected.
right? So that's your energetic grid system. It's kind of like your meridian system, and the lines are pretty similar to your meridian system in your physical body. You have that
Mm,
in your etheric energy body. So those are
okay.
connected to the exotonial lines. The exotonial lines are open, and those actually connect up to everything. So when you get those turned back on and that all connected, so there's no phrase, there's no breaks. You get we have things called spin points that actually then, and those are mini chakras, and there's like hundreds. They're in every cell of your body actually. Um, so those start spinning, and those create light, changes the cells. It then allows your light bodies to connect into your matrix. The way to for an energy source. So they all need to be connected to actually fully be working in a holistic, complete way. So that's what I do.
And
One of the
this,
things I do.
and this, yeah, this. Okay, so uh, you integrate 12 light bodies.
Right.
You are lead people to integrate their 12 light bodies,
Yeah, they literally
and
connect into your
and that's
chakra
basically,
system.
yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, so they connect the first seven connect into your seven main chakras, and then the last four connect into the chakras outside of you, your
Mm.
higher ones.
And this is connecting the matrix. This is connecting your matrix. Is that
Your
right?
Right. Yeah, you can just get
Okay.
your matrix done, which is just your own grid system. And then if you want to start connecting your light bodies, yes, your matrix has to be connected and working, because that's the way your light bodies go through your matrix to then get to your physical, right? Because your matrix is
Yeah.
your energetic grid system that supports you energetically.
And so in this, now you've been doing this a while, working with people as an energy practitioner. Uh, have you seen a change this year? Are you seeing a change as time goes by?
Yeah.
People being more accessible, people accessing on their own more. Do you see a shift or a change in your clientele?
Yeah, the energies are definitely increasing. So that stuff you said about seeing what's happening on the earth, yes, yeah, everything's changing. Um, you know, what you see outside of you and your government systems and all that stuff is it's definitely a reflection of all the stuff that's happening internally in every person. So yeah, big energies are coming in that are helping this ascension shift, we'll say, into a different dimension for everybody. And so I see it in the sense of I already know it, so I don't really need to see it as far as like with my eyes or anything like that, unless I need to. And yeah, I would say it kind of affects you as much as you are in the still in the matrix system of it. But yeah, so in my clients, what I've definitely been seeing is as the earth has really been changing frequency, and I think I listened to talk you had with Franco, and he talked about the I forgot something about the grid system changing and percentage wise. And I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense, because I've noticed that in my clients where they're, it's just getting kind of harder, not harder, just it's different. I'll be doing the matrix and it'll just flicker in different ways to where it's like, because the Earth's field is changing so much and fluctuating, it's kind of affecting people's matrices also, because they don't, like, let's say the Earth is flickering, oscillating in between these things. Well, I've seen that in the person also, where they're trying to ground or connect into the Earth grids, but as the Earth grids are doing it, they're doing it too. So it's been a working thing to try to, get it all kind of evened out in a sense, because everything is fluctuating and changing so much frequency wise.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense, because you do see that. I know I've experienced it myself, and I watch others do it too, only because I did it myself, and probably still do, maybe not too much. And that is, you bounce back and forth. You're like kind of torn. But like from what you're saying, and for some of the other people I've talked to, it seems like we're not being allowed to stay in this old space, for very long periods of time. If we do, we get some pretty loud things occurring in our lives. You know what I mean? Like shakeups,
Yeah, I think my
So,
teacher and other
yeah,
people
I
have
think,
said, if you don't want to
and
listen,
so,
you're going to have to feel.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I heard a perfect description by a friend of ours up in Sedona about one of our beloved sisters. And it wasn't about the person, it was just the way she explained it. She said, basically, if we don't listen or follow, or heed that guidance, and they don't come out of that old world, it can get embarrassing. I mean, things can be so loud, they can actually be pretty embarrassing, you know.
I guess
But
if you get easily embarrassed.
so now I don't know. Yeah, exactly right. And if you do,
It
then
is
you
what it
can't get
is. I
embarrassed at
feel
all,
like
and that's dangerous.
if you don't, I work in the Akashic records a lot, and it's like the ultimate, that high frequency source energy is so compassionate, and it's really so loving and so honoring that I just see it as like pushes, like, okay, well, we told you that way, so what about this way? Or something like that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it has a tendency to let you know not to take everything so seriously. Uh, in terms of like masculine, feminine, divine conscious union, uh, those three things seem to have been a pretty standard, given at least in the conversations I've observed or been a part for the last 8 years. Um, what do you think those elements? Why are those elements so prominent in this incarnation and in this transition we call ascension?
I think because so much is getting remembered and re-woken up, and the masculine and feminine has had just a lot of turmoil, over centuries, eons, whatever, becoming in balance. That, that's why I think it's kind of more in the forefront of
Yeah.
of what's coming up for people, because it's a major component of a big duality that's happened for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. And some people have been talking about in the last couple, 2-3 weeks, Morgan's one of them, that, and I don't really know how to say this, but part of it would be that sacred union is actually taking root within ourselves, in the collective, or at least it's available. Like it's like people have talked about it. People say they've had sacred marriage, they've had sacred union in themselves, but like there's really a strong magnetic coming together, and that kind of, to me, I don't really totally understand all that, but what it does resonate for me is that would make sense to me as we head into 2020. Do you feel that does that resonate at all with you in terms of a collective sacred marriage occurring in many, many souls as we head into 2020? And what are your feelings about 2020?
I mean, I don't think I use that terminology or view it in that way. I think there's a union of souls in general. I think always, as you start to see yourself, you start to see others. So in that sense, people are waking up at a very fast rate. I mean, streams of codes are literally coming in and doing a lot of this for us, of just like hitting you, and then suddenly you're like, wait, what am I doing? Who am I? Why is this? I don't feel like doing this anymore, whatever. So I think as people are really waking up to themselves very fast, that inevitably it creates sacred unions. And I don't separate it that much as into that. I see it as kind of a merger, and just a recognition of everyone and each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I get you. I get what you're saying. Yeah, absolutely. Now, you did some pretty incredible light language in Sedona. I don't know if you want to do any now, but we got before we conclude anything, I want to give you a chance to do whatever you'd like to do. Whether you want to do a blessing, activation, light language, commentary, or talk about whatever you want to talk about. The floor is yours.
Well, I guess I will just say a little bit more, maybe about activating the light bodies, just because it's just been coming up so much lately in my sphere, and especially in these communities, I see and I hear a lot about light bodies and people talking about it or doing meditations, and I think just getting them done in this way, where it's literally anchoring into your physical being. I don't know, it's a complete life changer. It really will. For me, it just like takes everything that you kind of know and feel and sense, and it brings it so much into your experience and into your physical and your body and your daily life here, which I think is really an important part on this thing we're doing, which is being embodied with this, and not just going out and doing whatever, but really being embodied with it. And when you do these light bodies, your frequency gets so high that whatever is staying, whatever in you that's hidden, your shadow, your trauma, whatever it is, it literally can't stay there anymore. It's getting pushed out because your frequencies are literally coming so high. They just push it out.
Keep going with this. Keep going with this. I got someone at the door. Keep going with this. I'm at my friend's house.
Okay.
You can do it.
So yeah, I think that's super important now, with all the frequencies that are coming in, all of the openings that everybody's having to different realms and dimensions and all that. It's important to be really grounded in in yourself and in a higher truth. And I think that happens through clearing your physical, through making yourself very clear. All of the shadows are out of the way, so you can really be clear with what's coming in and what's around you, and all the big changes that are on the way, because there are big changes and big things that are happening and going to continue to happen. So the more discernment you can have of real truth, because there's a lot of things, having information is super easy. It's super easy to have all this information we talk about. Like, anybody could go up and tap into it. Any being can bring it down and give it to you. Super easy. But being in alignment with it, that's a completely different story. That's not
Yeah, that's
all
what
of
we're here to do, I think.
right, and not that doesn't happen a lot of the time. So I think that's just, yeah, that's super important with what we're doing and what we're stepping into and going into, where there's going to be a lot of information, of new information and all sorts of things coming at everybody. So being in a space where you really can discern from a higher truth is a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you feel like there's more alignment coming for people collectively? Do you think more and more people are coming into alignment with what you're describing?
Yeah. Yeah, I think in a sense, there's been a lot of really higher frequencies coming in that haven't been coming in before. And I think that's helping a lot with it. And like I said, if that shows up with people that have been teachers for a long time, or, out there and everybody's for a long time, and then suddenly they're going through some crisis, you know what I mean? Is I feel like the frequencies that are coming in are kind of doing that.
That's one of the, that's a great point. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is awesome.
Yeah, that's a great point. I know. I think there's a lag. That's a great point, because one of the biggest things that I observe that actually benefits me, okay, is watching people who have been carrying a certain vibration for a long time. Like, let's say they've been out there for a while, like 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and I've watched them and I've got a certain perspective of them, and watching them wobble, watching them drop into lower dimensional energies, or rising up. Or one of the things that's really powerful is watching someone like that who's kind of been a certain type of characteristic or identity, and then watching them just throw it all away and say, hey, you know what? I'm starting over, like reset. I think that's a big deal. Okay. So I want to just show everybody real quick, because I want to get on to the next show. I'd love to do another show with you. There's so many things we could talk to you about, especially from your not only from your own experience, but from that of your clients. This is your website, Starlight Healing. Let me put it up here. Starlight Healing, light energy, theta healing, modalities, massage therapy. And this is what let's see. Okay, so this is in the comments, and I'll put it, this is in the post announcement, and I'll also put it in the comments.
Okay.
But you talk about some treatments here, like light language transmissions and neural longevity, craniosacral, Akashic record readings. That's why I said there's so many things we could talk to you about: spiritual surgery, 12 light body connection activation. So do you now, you work online and then also in person with people as well, right?
Yeah, I can do anything distance. The only things that can't be done distance are connecting your matrix and light bodies. That needs to be done in person. It's very protocoled, and so, but everything else can be done online.
Well, I was going to say, I have a backache today. I was hoping you could do the massage thing on the lower back.
Oh yeah, I guess that has to be in person, right?
I'm kidding. I'm kidding with you. All right. Well, it's great seeing you for the third time. I look forward to the fourth time. I know we're going to be seeing each other again and again and again and again. I know that because of your connection with Morgan. I can just see it. There's some type of similar auric thing going on there. I noticed from the first time when we met in the parking lot. But I just want to thank you for sharing space with us and honor us with your presence. And I look forward to collaborating with you again in the future.
Me too. Thank you so much.
All right. You take care. We're going to jump off and jump back on in a few minutes with Broder Bilal and see what he's doing. Peace out, Laura.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you later. Take care.
Bye.